Hello again, folks. I'm changing the camera later. Sorry about that. Should have done that ahead of time. Center. Good. Right. I'm gonna have a look at turkey. For obvious reasons, the name turkey is a bird. And well, I have to agree that that's a very aptly named. And I'm gonna get right to it. We'll start with looking at this big bird here. And it's big. And some of y'all are aware I've lived in Turkey for a vast amount of time. And this area stole a piece of my heart. So I decided this morning when I was looking at the weather that something looked like a bird. And I wanted to go in and look around Izmir where I was living. So I was living over here near this giant cone head shape. I'm going to remove some of these and remark this map. Doesn't change that that's a cone head shape. But things are about to get more interesting. Much more interesting than I had anticipated. So I'm going to, without further ado, I'm going to go right to it. So the first thing I noticed when I was looking at the weather this morning was this bird-like head feature here with wing structure coming out to here, right? And I think something dined on that. Something after it died went down here. So I'm going to go in here to Iskele Mahala, which is south of Izmir, part of Urla. I always consider it to be its own. And I'm going to go right into what's known as Quarantine Island. This is a place that people went when they was sick, and it is known as Quarantine Island. And the first thing I see is the shape of a bird. Hello, you. It's Bernard Island. I get to name some of these things. And I guess that would be what's the remains of its crown feature. Just the water pictures aren't clear enough to really give much to that. And I know they carved channels through here for navigation. Yeah, it's a bird, man. A great big bird was sitting out there in the water the whole time. And I had no idea. So I looked at some of the other islands off the coast because there was always a couple I used to enjoy to look at that were off the coast here, right out here. So I decided to have a look at them too. And sure enough, I see it. Just as plain as day. This one I have to flip. Got a bird here. This is the remains of a bird. I know that's a bit stretching it, but as I go on here, you're going to see it's not stretching it at all. And here's another one here. The remains of a bird. The remains of another bird head. Ducky fuzz, ducky fuzz. There's another beak-like structure here, and it goes out into the water. It's beautiful water around here. Everybody should go to Iskele. Have dinner over at the Deniz di Porto. Yeah, say hi to Faisy Bubba for me when you're there. Beautiful view. It's one of my favorite places to eat. But from that table, I would have the most incredible view. Here, I'll show you. All right, I'm gonna go down into my village here. Excuse me, while I get past some of these bird shapes. Right, it's a beautiful place to live. And it was right here. Right, I'd come in, I'd sit out here, and I'd look. I'd look out over the ocean and see these beautiful islands and these beautiful waters. But from that angle, you couldn't see what I'm showing you. Excuse me a minute. I've scuppered my map. Might be time for my new batteries. I'll burn up some batteries in a mouse. Right, so I'm going to go back out here. Zoom in on these birds. And they're everywhere. And I went and looked. So we got birds on the island. One of them always looked like a person floating, laying on their back. It's very small. It's very cool. Like this one out here looked like somebody floating on their back. But even to zoom in on that. That's the rock out here. People come out here and like to plant Turkish flag out here. It's like to Greece, you know? But it's hard to determine beak-like structure under the water. But this from the shoreline looks like somebody floating on their back. And it's right over here next to this bird. Freaking amazes me. So right, I'm going to go in and look at the mountain behind my house where I was living. Because I was living up here in this mountain behind behind the town. What a view. I'm not telling you, what a view. So the first things I start to notice now is the shapes of the neighborhoods and where the topography is. I should have done a better job marking a little bit ago, but I'll catch it all back again. Yeah, there's that humming bit I do. Excuse me a minute. Yeah, I do miss my dang media tava. That's fried mussels that I would have over at Denizalti's. What a nice thing. You'll have to excuse me while I orient everything. So I'm going to come on in. All right, got a bird here up on the top of the mountain. Bird shape here with some building activity going in behind it. I look for mining, and that's not mine. There are some mines around, and I have marked. But that's a big bird. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Right there's its beak and its head. As I come down toward the shoreline, I see more. Because I've walked these hills. It'll tire you out. I'll tell you that. All right, where's the next one? I've lost my bearings. You have to excuse me a minute. Let me go north. Let me come back here. Let's go look at Gilinkaya. It's a little piece that sticks out here. Right, first thing I see here, if I turn it this way, I get a bird right here. There's another cafe. A lot of my pictures are taken of me sitting. Nice little private beach here. That's another cafe I love to go to. Denizalti Beach. No, I don't get paid to do commercials for Denizalti, but yeah, Bubba puts on a good show. Always get good food. I'm going to continue up the mountain. The staining reveals a lot. I'm going to go change years. Sometimes we pick up more on one than another. Now, I had this one down a minute ago. Bird heads here. There's head after head all over this town. As I go into the hills, I'll go to a couple I've got marked, and I did mark a few. This is like a big mound on the edge of town. Lots of little tepes or hills. Gobekli Tepe is a hill. Goes Tepe, the hill of the eye, so to speak. Got another bird head here. You'll see him in the topography here. You got another head here coming on down. I know that's a road, but the topography clearly eroded it, so that was the easiest way. Because this is very mountainous, very hilly, very dramatic, very thorny. I made the mistake of sitting on the ground on top of one of the mountains here. I had thorns in my hand for about a year I was pulling out. But when you go up on top of one of these, you see this view that I get from there, you would understand why I would go up there. Another bird head here. I'm going to just keep going through. And another bird head here. And the quarries are all bird heads. And I say all. Right? I've already gone well out of Urla. So I have to zip back to town. Right, I'm going to come back in and show a few more. And some of these I'm just doing a live look because I do enjoy doing that. I was doing some thought about Devil's Tower last night. And I'm wondering if that tower itself sticking up is a remnants of a stinger that killed the bird. That is the Devil's Tower National Park area or monument. I'm very curious about that. What do we got here? Nothing super obvious, but that's super obviously a bird head here. People's houses get bird heads. Bird world. How come nobody noticed that these shapes of these bird heads are everywhere in the world? Go look at your topography on your maps and see what you see. I'm very curious. As our imaginariums, let's call it that, notice these things. Now we notice these certain curves like a beak, and we notice that That looks like a bird head. You might not see it, but you will in a moment. Let's just go on a different ear. Right there. With that crown like the liver bird has coming back in here. I keep saying they find the heads because they didn't like how they tasted. The rest of the body must have been dishlicious. And they just scoffed. Trying to come up with a name for this imaginarium that's showing me birds and insectoids. Well, what kind of world do we call that? I got an idea. Let's call it our world. Is it just your imagination? Get up that Woody Woodpecker look here yet? See if we can find some mine in here. Or because I know that on the outside of town, coming in on the road near this big giant here. Here I worked that one in. Near this big giant here. This is a bird. And it's big. Comes down here. Fucking amazing. Yeah, the whole mountain behind Iskele Mahala is a bird. Several bird heads actually. One on top of the other. An insectoid activity. See if I can find that. There's another one. Yaji's tepi is a bird head. And there, the beak comes down like that. Bird world. Still there. Still see it. I never saw this when I would go past it on the road. I go past it on this road all the time. You see it over there on the right. And never gave it another shake and a whistle. And even the shape of these fields out here have that bird head shape to it. This is becoming more than just a coincidence. This is becoming a I'm definitely giving this a Now, this is a big bird as well that I'd seen many times. It's a very pyramid shaped, actually. And I often wonder, because this is a sand activity, was it easily shaved into a pyramid structure for civilizations that came afterwards? But you can see the bird head here. Comes on down to this whole area. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That was a screw up. I don't know where I just ended up. The breasts of Izmir. You'll see them in a lot of pictures. You'll see them. They look like titties right here. But when you look at them from above, I don't see the titties. I'm going to look at it. I'm really sorry about that flip about. I need a new computer. This is not the one I have in Turkey, which I couldn't get back to. I had to leave my whole studio behind. Gutted. My whole life. But hey, the breasts of Izmir are still on the map. But I don't see a hominid. I've actually always wanted to give a good look around here. So I'm going to indulge myself a bit. I'll turn the map every way and sideways. Now, I'm not seeing an obvious jumping out at me here. Oh, yes, I am. Now I see it. I get you. I get you, beak. Right, the breast of Izmir is a bird. Head's up here. Beak's down here. One of them titties, who knows what's come here after that, or it's just ant activity. And it came down there. But it looked just like titties when you're going down the highway. I mean, really, like you see somebody laying on the side of a hill. But the actual arrangement is not anatomically anything that I'd recognize. Bird world, excellent. No one got that crown piece on the head too. Doo-dah. What are you thinking? How's your Imaginarium doing? You see a bird that crashed sideways into a mountain with a wing yet? I do. Because it's just imagination. My imagination questions what I've been told and what I've been taught. And I think geology needs a serious re-looking at, because we now have new tools at our disposal to do that. And you could call these Rob's birds, but I'd just rather call them our birds. This is our real story, not his story, not her story. It's the story. Yep. I'm really enjoying my tour today, so I might make this last a little longer. I'm looking for signs of insect activity. You know, do I see tunnels going towards something? Or ridges, the things that passageways. And I will have to do a show that shows you do a world record termite mound. And you'll see somebody excavated one and filled it up. It is massive. And you'll see these tunnel systems and you'll see these structures like we're seeing on our mountains. The ridges in this. You'll see these. So that's when I started thinking different as well, because it was matching what I'm seeing with my eyes. And well, your eyes will very often tell you things that you might not pick up on otherwise. Like, hey, why is that a different color? Is it because it was burned? Why does that look like a beak and an eye and a head? Why am I seeing that shape all over the world on our mountains? Why? Because birds are our mountains, and the ants turn them into the mountains with their activity, and they're consuming, and they're just them living. They're active living. I was reading something the other day that they say that the ants themselves actually are in a huge network around the world, and they cooperate with each other independently. Like this one has a queen, that one has a queen, but somehow they cooperate with each other. So it's telling you there's a kind of communication and cooperation that has gone on in this world that is not like humans do it. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's hard to make sense of nonsensical things. I used to think this was a giant stump, to be honest. But as I continue my research, I'm seeing no. It's possible that I was right. Right? It's okay to say you was wrong. Matter of fact, it's never okay not to say you're wrong when you're wrong. In all fairness, once you know. But, you know, this is a mining area, and they missed one here. Here's a bird head, and the mines will go in the shapes of bird heads. I've noticed this for a long time. But they've well mined this area. All that'll be left will be the shapes. Bird head. Bird head. These ain't particularly huge. You know, when I tell you it's not particularly huge, and I go from here to here, and it's 0.2 kilometers. Like from here to the other end of that stadium over there. That's what I'm saying is small. Because I'm seeing hundreds of miles long. I had a 400-mile long one I showed you guys. I think it might have been yesterday's video or the day before. But I'm not really seeing many hominids here. I'm seeing mostly the structures of bird heads. And I just showed you that a minute ago with its crown features and stuff. And they do terraced farming around here as well. It's actually a big initiative now to go back to terraced farming because it saves a lot of water. Instead of it running down a hill and going away, it goes in, it goes in, it goes in. It's not as destructive. It's an old method of farming. Actually goes back thousands and thousands of years, that type of thing. I'm just having a live look. See if I see anything cool. Are you seeing anything cool in your imaginary? Right? Oh, I miss Turkey. These turkeys in Turkey. Bone structure. Like you found a skeleton of a bird down on the ground in the woods. If you ain't never gone in the woods having a walk, where you been your whole life? Why? And look around when you're out there. And the shape's all mined out. Just like a head. I went to that because of the color difference. I was hoping maybe there wouldn't be so many roads blocking my view. All right, that's what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you you got birds everywhere. And there was a bird in an insect world. In the bird in the insect world has a great big bird called turkey right here. Very aptly named. And then maybe one day you'll get fortunate enough to come down here and sit like I once did at table 23 at Denizalti Cafe and have a coffee and look out over my beautiful world. Big love, people. Keep your imaginariums going and smile.